Mr. Razoukas, an author known for many books about incarceration in the U.S. prison system, writes in his book, Not the Worst, but Not Norway, U.S. Prison Systems versus Other Models, that 70% of rearrests occur within 5 years. Why is it that after 5 years, 70% or more of released inmates are arrested again? I believe that this problem lies in the basis of the U.S. prison system. The U.S. holds a belief that instead of helping criminals, we should just punish them. However, by helping criminals with their mental health, we can reduce both crime and the recurrence of crime after inmates are released. Our system is not working, but today I want to talk about how by helping inmates with their mental health, we can establish a system that reduces crime and recidivism in the U.S. So first, let's talk about the reason behind the high crime rates in the U.S. Mental health is one of the main reasons of crime rates in the U.S. This is because people with serious mental illness are 10 times more likely to get arrested, says Thomas Enzel in America's Mental Health Crisis. This is because people with serious mental health issues usually aren't able to get the help they need. The state doesn't offer mental health care with most insurances, and because of this, most people with serious mental health issues who need help aren't able to get the help they need. So they only get this help when they're in prison. If you were to have a close friend or a family member confide in you that they were having serious mental health issues, you would help them. You wouldn't just throw them to the curb like the state does with many criminals. Criminals are people too. They deserve our help as much as a close friend or a family member. So we should help them by allowing better mental health care that is accessible and easy to get. Along with that, mental health also makes someone act differently. Most mentally healthy people don't behave the way that most people in prison do. Most mentally healthy people don't have to resort to stealing or murdering, usually because they're in different circumstances or they have access to mental health care. A lot of people in prison with mental health issues are labeled as crazy. The National Library of Medicine writes in the article Psychiatric Illness and Criminality that the public perception of psychiatric patients as dangerous individuals is often rooted in the portrayal of criminals in the media as crazy individuals. Because of this label, criminals aren't able to get the help they need. They're simply labeled as crazy. But mental health doesn't just make you crazy. Mental health is a real thing. It makes you act differently than you normally do. I, myself, had my own struggles with mental health. From a young age, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And something about those two mental health issues that aren't even super big, not like schizophrenia, they made me act differently. I wasn't able to navigate daily life, much less a prison system. Many inmates now with mental health issues, especially severe ones like severe depression, schizophrenia, things like that, don't get the help they need and are just thrown into a prison system that's hard to navigate and violent. This is a very unfair advantage. However, there are many countries that have the same criminals that we do. There's many countries that have the same thieves and murderers that we have in the US. However, these countries have much less recidivism than the US does. So I want to talk about the Norway system. The US likes to punish criminals. We don't help them. However, the Norwegian system does. In the article, What I Learned Touring Prisons in Finland and Norway by Alex M. Johnson, Johnson writes that Norway has 3 values when it comes to criminals. That inmates are people too, prisons are supposed to rehabilitate instead of punish, and social services will solve social problems, not prisons. These 3 values are what makes the Norway prison system so effective. By treating inmates like people and actually fixing the problem and helping inmates get back into normal daily life, recidivism rates and crime rates are much lower. Because the state allows access to mental health care, people don't have to resort to stealing or murdering. We can see here this graph the recidivism rates after 5 years. Norway is only 20%. The US is roughly 79%. I got these numbers from what we can learn from Norway's prison system, rehabilitation, and recidivism, that the recidivism rate in Norway is only 20% after 5 years. But in Second Chance, the impact of unsuccessful reentry and the need for reintegration resources in communities, I found that the US recidivism rate is 79%. If we were to shift to helping inmates instead of punishing them, we could fix this recidivism rate. If we allow better access to mental health care, we can lower the crime rates and the recidivism rates. Eliza COMM writes in her article, How Better Access to Mental Health Care Can Reduce Crime, that within 2 years of losing access to health care, those with a history of mental illness are more likely to be incarcerated. This is because people with a mental health history, once they lose access to mental health care, end up resorting and relapsing into old behaviors caused by their mental health. However, if we allow mental health to be accessible, we can reduce crime rates and recidivism rates. If we focus on mental health as a community and as a country, we can fix these high crime and recidivism rates. If the US changes its view to rehabilitate instead of punishing its inmates and focusing on inmates' mental health and actually solving the problem where it's at, we can lower these crime and recidivism rates. If we offer better mental health care instead of just punishment, we can fix the US prison system as a whole and make life in the US a lot more pleasant for everyone. The state's job is to care for people. It's to care for all of its citizens, and it shouldn't neglect mental health. If the state focuses on mental health, it will make life so much better for all of its citizens. It will fix the problem. The state should care for all of its people, not even its criminals. Thank you.